3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running.
Whether you've been married 1 or 20 plus years, at some point, you realized you were married into crazy.
And that's what our podcast is all about. We offer love, laughter, and a dose of reality as we unpack this crazy thing called marriage.
So sit back, relax, and get your ear hustle on. It's time to start the conversation.
All right, let's go.
Welcome to another episode of the Married into Crazy podcast with Snooks and Lovey. I'm Lovey.
I'm Snooks.
And we're coming off of a major high from this weekend.
Yeah, we are very, 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 very busy this weekend. My younger brother got married on Saturday, and Lovey had the honor of being the best man.
Yep, there were two best men. It was me, his brother, and his best friend. I mean, well, me being his brother.
I was like, you, his brother? What? No. His
There's
friend.
Like 5 best men.
His friend from high school. They go way back, and so him and Lovey and Rod were the best men. It was really funny. We had Friday. We had the rehearsal. I read a scripture, so I was kind of included a little bit. They had rehearsal, and so the guys came over to our house and, do their man thing or whatever.
The man stuff.
You should have seen these guys. I won't even say these guys, just my brother, both my brothers and my brother-in-law. So my 3 brothers, I'll say, they were trying to shoot me upstairs so fast. McKaylee's like, are you staying down here? I said, forget you. He's like, nah, sis, I need you to go upstairs. And our older brother, Todd, he was like, we do a man stuff down here. I was like, whatever.
That's right. Out. That's right. And I had to pick up the food and I brought it back, and it was cool because we just sat outside chopping it up. Look, we too old to be doing this, going to the strip joint and hitting the club.
Is that the only reason why you didn't go to the strip joint? Because you feel like you're too old?
You know what's so funny though?
Tell me so I can laugh.
No, I'm saying I have never, ever enjoyed that.
Going to a strip club?
Yeah, it was fun. What's funny about it, it's not that I'm a square or whatever, and I've gone to a lot over the years, but it was mostly because the group or the crew was going. So I was like, all right, I'll go as well. And I've never liked it because you just sit there and the music's loud and you're supposed to sit there and like, I don't know her. She ain't going home with me. So
you never paid for a lap dance and stuff like that?
Oh, I did. Look, when you in Rome, I did.
In Rome, right? Okay.
I did, but did I enjoy it? I don't know. It was so long ago.
You did. This is when you were in the service.
I'm thinking so hard. There's like dust coming out my ears right now.
Wow.
That's funny.
Anyway, so yeah, it was fun. And they were so loud because I had to do my daughter's hair. So we were upstairs and she's like, Mom, why are they so loud? I was like, I know, huh?
That's right.
Loud.
He was running things. That's right.
Whatever.
Well, what's funny though is that so it led up into the marriage, which was, or I should say the wedding.
The ceremony
that took place on Saturday. And
mm-hmm.
It was a beautiful, beautiful ceremony at a local winery.
Yeah, it was very nice. It was outdoors. It wasn't like a humongous wedding. It was a good sized crowd. People were able to be comfortable as far as staying, we weren't all on top of each other. No. So
it was definitely, COVID approved.
Yeah.
The great majority of individuals were wearing their masks. Some weren't, but they were like, oh, I'm vaccinated. And everybody kept their distance. And it was just really nice venue. The Durst Winery was just a beautiful venue. And the food was good. Mm-hmm. It was a taco truck.
Never seen that before.
Never, but it was funny, but it was really well done. And the
food was so good. It was ridiculous. It was so
ridiculously good.
Yeah. I was like, really?
Yeah, everybody out there talking, oh, we want to go to these fancy restaurants. We do some again, we get a taco truck.
It's funny because my the one who got married, Derek, he was like, sis, food's bomb, huh? I said, yeah. He said, that's right. Derek, so silly. But yeah, we had a great time, and it was fun all the way through until I broke out in hives.
Oh my goodness, Snooks. So a number of years ago, when our son, our eldest child, can I still call him a child?
He's a child.
So he's going to be 27 in December. But when he graduated from high school, So this is like 9 years ago.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we had this big party. Actually it was more than 9 years because it was he graduated early.
Oh, that's right.
So
That's
it
about 10
was
years ago.
it was Ashanti graduated from, well, promoted to junior high school.
Mhm.
Kaylin graduated from high school, and it was Lovey's birthday. So we had a big giant humongous party for, all three. And
Snooks was being cheap. She was like, we're gonna get a 3 for 1.
really, I was being
We're gonna
cheap.
we're gonna we're
Wow.
gonna roll it all up into one.
That was being smart. Said
Exactly.
the man who proposed on my birthday. What? Get out.
That's just called being efficient.
Oh, okay. Well, I did that times 10.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
No, and that day it was funny. I'd cut the lawn earlier in the morning and getting everything all set up, and we're outside setting up chairs and the tables and all that stuff, and all the decorations. And then Snooks is over there scratching.
Yeah, I was like, why am I itchy? I know I didn't get that bit up. And so I came inside and I realized, I was like, I'm breaking out in hives.
I mean, she had to go to the ER.
Yeah, the urgent care.
But it was, so she comes on with an EpiPen. It was crazy. But ever since then, it's one of those things where.
And then I had another outbreak. That's before we realized that it was actually the grass. So, but when we got there, I was like, this grass looks fresh cut. And I was being very careful not to like let any part of my foot touch the grass. And even on Saturday, because on Friday I noticed that, but then on Saturday I was like, okay, felt a little bit more comfortable. I still had my shoes on and everything, but then we got out there on the dance floor and it was on concrete. I don't know if I touched someone or what, but I was like, dang, I'm getting bit up. And I told Ashanti, because we were dancing together, I said, girl, I'm getting eaten up. And she goes, Mom, I think you're breaking out. I was like, is that hives? Because I'm itching everywhere. And she was like, yep, under your eyes, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, we got to go. Look, I'm scratching my nose now. I said, we got to go. So I went and found Lovey. And I was like, babe, I said, I'm breaking out in hives. And he looked at me. He was like, oh, we got to go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. So,
I rally everybody up and we take off. And we didn't get a chance to say goodbye to Derek. We said goodbye to our new sister-in-law.
Yeah.
But not to him. He called me today, by the way, but I'll get into that later.
Okay.
So no, they're on their way to Mexico, for their honeymoon. And they called from Utah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I guess they had a layover in Utah. So he gave a call, but he called to check on you. He's like, I'm sorry. We were so busy yesterday. And but he wanted to make sure you were okay.
I didn't even expect him to call.
We're throwing all this out there because just to let you know that it was a full weekend of celebrating love. And one of the things that we want to get into today is going to be talking about, basically we're going to kind of double down on a talk that we did yesterday for a group. And we're going to include that in our podcast today. But we are also, want to let you know that because we're talking about marriage, we're talking about love, we'd be remiss if we didn't let you know that for those individuals that are in the Southern California area, this upcoming weekend on October 9th, Saturday, October 9th, from 9:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m., we are going to be participating. We're one of the key speakers at the Love Clinic's annual event called the Marriage Mastery Meetup. And the theme this year is loving like crazy, between, on top, and out of the sheets. Hey.
Hey.
And it's going to be held this year at their facility, which is Life Enrichment Worldwide Ministries, which is located at 823 West Manchester in Los Angeles. So there's 3 speakers, or I should say 3 pairs of speakers. There's going to be Bishop Carl and First Lady Mavis McKnight. Now, they're the pastors and the First Lady of Life Enrichment Worldwide Ministries. But the funny thing is, some of you may recognize Mavis because we've had her on the show in the past.
Yeah, we've had her on the show. She's a certified sex coach. And we had a good talk with her.
We did. She'd be getting in all the begatting that be going on in the Bible. Man. But no, it's good. I mean, she lets people know that, just because you're Christian, just because you're saved, just because you're trying to walk in the light doesn't mean that you can't have an active and healthy sex life.
And enjoy it.
And passionate. Yeah, so she's pretty funny. And so she's going to be talking as well as the bishop. And then also there's going to be another marriage coach besides ourselves. It's going to be Mrs. Tanisha Collins. And she's a published author, and she's widely known as the Sex Dare Lady. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Look, we're going to be taking a whole lot of notes.
I'm taking money.
Okay.
I have to purchase something.
Amen. And of
So
course,
silly.
yours truly, with us being the creators of the Married Into Crazy podcast, that we're marriage coaches.
Mhm.
You can always go to our website at marriedintocrazy.com. And we always say, go there to book a discovery call so you can talk with us and determine whether or not, there's a good fit for us to help you kind of get to that next level when it comes to relationship.
Yeah.
But also go to our webpage, marriedintocrazy.com, and you can register for this weekend's marriage conference. I think
Yeah.
it's going to be a lot of fun.
Even if you don't live out in LA, fly in. Why not?
Yeah, just, get on your
Take a
jet,
day. Yeah. Just,
get in the U-Haul, pack it up.
drive. I
Come
don't
on,
know.
start driving now if you're in New York.
Whatever.
So you can come on
I
out.
swear, right?
No, but it's going to be a lot of
No,
fun. So
it should be
please,
fun. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited about it.
it's going to be a blast. So definitely go to our website and check that out. And while you're doing things, don't forget to go over to wherever you're listening to us right now. If you're listening to Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever, if you have the ability to leave a review and some stars, please do. We ask that you do. We always like for you. Sticks is holding up that 5 again for those of you that cannot see her.
5 on it.
She wants to sing, put 5 on it. All out of tune like me. Yep.
Yeah.
But the thing that we really want to talk about today, is building
relational intelligence. Excuse me. Sorry. Let me say that again without the interruption. Building relational intelligence.
So there's been a lot of discussion over the past few years regarding emotional intelligence, right? And emotional intelligence is, you've heard of artificial intelligence. You've heard of like when you get your IQ, just your intelligence quotient, but there's emotional intelligence as well. And generally speaking, when you're talking about emotional intelligence, there's 4 skills that kind of break it down, if you will. There's self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and relationship management. Now, tonight, we're not going to get into self-awareness and self-management because that's more about personal competencies. And so the difference between the two. Personal competence is made up of your self-awareness and self-management skills, like I just said, but they focus more on you individually than on your interactions with other people. If you break them down, personal competence is your ability to stay aware of your emotions and manage your behavior and tendencies, right? But social competence, that's where we're going to actually lean our conversation tonight. Social competence is made up of your social awareness as well as your relationship management. So relationship management, that sounds like marriage to me.
That's true.
See, social competence is your ability to understand other people's moods, behaviors, and motives in order to improve the quality of your relationships. And so tonight, what we're going to do is we're going to dig deep. And I want to thank another coach, another friend of ours that, we hold dear. At least I do. Snooks doesn't really know him. She's heard me talk about him time and time again. He's a dear friend, somebody that's, working out of Chicago. If you're in the Chicago area, look up, we call him Dr. Ben, but look up Mr. Ben Bakayoko. He shared some of these questions with us and got us permission to go ahead and utilize it for our group yesterday. And I want to extend that to you this evening as well. And this is about building relationship intelligence. So the one thing that we do in our relationships when we're talking to people, we always have a tendency to negotiate. The Y in crazy stands for what?
Yielding.
Right. And
I'm
sometimes,
like, I don't know. No.
and sometimes yielding feels a lot like negotiating.
I guess, yeah. Yeah. Sometimes, yeah, I guess.
Well, because one's yielding. Like sometimes when you yield, so like if you're in traffic and you're in a car and you're yielding to the traffic that's already there, right? So you have to find where you can fit in. And we do that a lot in relationships where, okay, well, if somebody's taking the lead, you're going to yield. Well, I say that because we do that in relationships, but we never yield or negotiate when it comes to the covenant of marriage.
And when you say never, you mean like our values, what our beliefs are?
Exactly. Values, core beliefs. We want to make sure that people are meant to be negotiated with. Mm-hmm. Jobs, all that, but not your covenant. And the way you do that is knowing yourself. You have to have true authenticity when you're stepping into the covenant.
You gotta be real.
Got to keep it real. Because that R, So here's the rules of the. Can you lay
Yeah.
out the?
So first one is thou shalt answer the questions truthfully, no matter how uncomfortable the response is.
And some of these responses are going to be uncomfortable.
Well, and then one thing that we say too, don't ask the question
Hmm. If you
if you're not
don't,
right. Go ahead. You
no, I said
finish
don't
it.
ask the question if you're not prepared to
You're
answer
not
to hear the
prepared to
answers.
hear the answer. And you, well, okay, we'll go on more with that, I guess, a little bit later. Next one, thou shalt not judge each other for their honesty. So that kind of plays. I was going to kind of say something about that. That kind of piggybacks on to what the first question, or not the first question, but the first statement was. Um, you can't be upset or judge me if I'm being honest. We call for full transparency, and we should always be able to have that in a marriage because we're a team. And I want what's best for us, not just for me. And you, well, you want what's best for us. And everyone else should. In a marriage, you should always want what's best for the team, not your individual agendas. So, but when I'm asked a question, when you ask me a question, um, don't judge me for me being transparent, because
And
that is,
vulnerable.
yeah, exactly. Because that's the quickest way to shut down. And that also strips away the trust that I have, because now I can't trust that I can be honest with you and I can be open and I can tell you my deepest, darkest fears or whatever they are.
Exactly.
Thou shalt seek clarity and understanding to love yourself and each other deeper. So when we say seek clarity, that means asking the question. So just as an example, Lovey will say something to me, or Lovey could say something to me, and I could go off of what I thought I heard. And I think that's one thing that happens a lot of times. He'll say something, I'm thinking he means this. So I'm responding and reacting to what I thought he meant when it really wasn't that at all. So instead of me just automatically getting upset or reacting, I should say, okay, can you explain to me what you're talking about?
It doesn't normally sound like that. It's normally like, what you talking about?
I don't say it
No.
like that. I have. I'm not gonna lie. I have. It has come out that way sometimes. Like, what are you even talking about?
You don't make no sense. No. Yep.
Wow.
No. No, it's the truth. I mean, in that clarity, you shouldn't be afraid to ask questions, but it's not a judgmental question. It's not a challenge to the individual. Like, explain yourself. No, it's more like, okay, what I'm hearing is this.
Yeah.
Is that what you meant? Or am I hearing that right? Or,
Yeah.
because I want to make sure that I'm not, interpreting on my own or hearing something that wasn't said or that wasn't really there.
Right. And one thing, this is, I have to ask for grace prior to any conversation with anyone in my family that I'm close to. Well, especially in my household with my husband and my kids. Because I ask a lot of questions, and I think that I'm pretty good on asking for clarity to the point of, I don't know, maybe you could say ad nauseum. I don't know.
Ad
Lovey has
nauseam.
said that to me before, but I want to make sure that I'm understanding what you're actually saying, and I'm not leaning to my own understanding. Um, I say give grace to the person that's asking the question. I have to ask them, okay, you guys, you already know I'm going to ask questions. So I'm asking for grace. So don't get upset when when someone is asking you for clarity.
It's really big. It's really important to her. That's why we just
It's
spent
very
5
important to
minutes on
me.
this one section.
What?
I had to take that dig. I had to.
Don't touch me.
Well,
but that's true though. That this is something that
she's passionate about.
I'm very passionate about. Understanding. I have to understand. If ambiguity with me, that is the first way to frustrate me. That is the first way to make me just shut down. I lose it.
And what you're saying is typical of our conversations. I'm like, okay, I'm ready to move on, and she's like, nope, we're gonna talk about this
because I got to get it all out.
I know. I know.
Ever you
I
go
know.
next,
I know.
then.
Well, and the last thing is you should not share things disclosed in the following pages outside of your marriage. And these, when we said pages, it's basically the questions that we're about to share with you. The things that you discuss are meant for the two of you.
Mhm.
That's it. Or or your coach, if you want to bring that to your coach, or if you want to take it to your counselor, or if the two of you are going to your pastor. It's not for you to take back to your boys, man. You won't believe what she told me. Or, she said, I'm not doing this, or this is how, whatever. I thought she was past all that, or whatever. Or it's not you to take it back to your girls, like, girl, you won't believe what this fool said to me the other day, or it's not about all that. It's about you two finding clarity and understanding of each other.
Mhm.
So it stays between the two of you,
Mhm.
right? It's important. Now, we do believe in you having an iron tribe. That's why we invite you to join our iron tribe that's on Facebook. If you go to Facebook and you can find us, it's Iron Tribe, the marriage community. We don't want to see these things in there talking about on the podcast. You said to ask this question, and my husband did or like, man, you messed me up because now she over talking about blah blah blah. No, it's not like that at all. We want you to come to the Iron Tribe on our Facebook community. It says Iron Tribe, the marriage community. We want you to go there and ask questions, do different things. Now it might spur you to have conversations or create topics or things, but not come out there and air your laundry.
Well, I mean, okay, so I don't want to say I disagree. I don't disagree because I get what you're saying, but sometimes you have an iron tribe for a reason.
True. But I would say go to together. Let's make it this way. Let's make sure it's about growth and not gossip.
Okay, got you. I mean, obviously I got you, but
Yeah.
you just want to make it plain that sometimes I might need to get another person's opinion. And
Sometimes
you
you need to
have to
vent.
go to somewhere where you feel safe, number one, and you feel like the people who are there to support you are actually sharpening you too. Like we say, as iron sharpens iron, we as
Gotcha.
we as couples should sharpen each other.
I heard you.
You heard me? Okay, okay, go.
And so here are the questions. And we're going to go through these. We're not asking you we're not going to answer them for you,
What
on
if
our show.
what if I want to answer something?
If you want to answer something, you can jump in.
Okay.
Show your
Okay.
business, girl.
Anyway.
No, so here's some of the questions that we want you to ponder. So if you're driving, make sure you come back to this when you get home and write the questions down. But if you're there and you're in a spot where you can take notes, definitely take notes. If there was one thing you wanted to learn, change, or deepen in your marriage, what would it be? Now, mind you, these could be some pillow talk. These could be things that you discuss at the kitchen table, in the bed, just having a conversation with each other. But it's an intimate conversation, but it's also something that should be taken seriously. And a lot of thought should go into these.
Mhm.
So think about that one thing you wanted to learn or change or deepen in your marriage. What would that be and why? Is it because this is something that's truly dear to you and you love when you guys do this and you want more of it? Or is it something that's lacking that you yearned for, that is non-existent, and you really feel like that's a missing part of the puzzle?
Yeah.
So the next question is,
I'll read the next one. What was the relationship like between your parents? What did you see or not see as a child? Was it close, kind, strained, loving, joyful, or distant? Describe it.
and why do you think that's so important?
Because because a lot of times we mimic what we see. Um, some children that grow up in an abusive family, nuclear family, they can become abusers themselves. And or if you don't know how to, if you think that this is what it's supposed to be, this is what you're going to do. You know, um, I know some people from childhood that they had an alcoholic father, and their father was very abusive to their mother. And they turned around, not all of them, but there's a couple of them. They turned around, they were alcoholics, and they abused their wives. That was the model that was set for them. So, not saying that that's exactly what's going to happen, because there are times too where you see something and you're like, "Ooh, I am not doing that because I that doesn't gel with me. That doesn't, I don't want that." And I think for myself and even for Lovey, we've said this before. Our model of our parents' relationships when we were younger, it wasn't one that we were like, oh, I want to be just like that when I get married. I want to be this way. Or I love how my dad treats my mom, or I love how my mom treats my dad. We didn't, that was not a reality in our homes as parents, not as people, but as parents. Um,
As husband and wife,
as
not
husband and
parents.
wife. I'm sorry. That's what I meant. As husband and wife, not as parent, as people, individuals. So my mom was single, but I do remember my mother and father's relationship when I was very young. And I do remember saying, I will never get married, because I don't want that. And it wasn't just my mom. I have uncles and aunts, and you know, I've seen their relationships, my cousins and whatever. And I was like, oh, I know I don't want that.
Right. And so there's lots of times where I I, I look back and I remember distinctly thinking, okay, I don't want to be like this.
Mhm.
Watching my dad's relationships. Um, he's a phenomenal guy. I consider him, I mean, he's my dad. I mean, he's my hero. He's the guy that I love. But, I go to him for advice in so many areas. Marriage isn't one of them. I'm just saying, because, there's an old saying, it says more is caught than is taught. And a lot of
Mm,
times they see this question where it's asking about what was the relationship like between your parents? What did you see or not see? It doesn't say, what did they tell you? What did you
right.
hear? So what did you see? Because we have a tendency to catch things as opposed to hearing things, right? More is caught than is taught. A lot of times people want to offer lessons. They want to say, okay, here's what you need to do. You don't hear that. Oh, I
But
see
I
what you
see
do.
everything. Right. I see
Yeah.
everything.
We
I
say that
see
about
everything.
kids all the time, that kids
Hmm.
hear, 0% of what you say and 100% of what you do.
Hmm.
Well, that couldn't be any more true than with marriages, seeing how you relate to each other.
And this is key also because most married people, I won't say most, a lot of married people have children. So think back to how you are as a couple. What are your children seeing? What is it that you want them to take out of this relationship? What do you want them to mimic? What would you want them to stay away from? If you could, how do I say this? If you could read their thoughts, what would their thoughts be? Would it be something that make you go, oh my God, they think that about us? Would it make you cringe, or would it make you feel good that you're being a good example or a great example, showing them this is how you do it. This is how we love each other. This is how we respect each other. This is how we disagree and work through it, you
Right.
know? So,
And then the next question is, how many intimate, significant relationships have you been in over the course of your life? So, in general, how have they influenced where you are today?
hmm.
There's an old saying again. I guess I'm into old sayings tonight, where you are the
Soul
culmination,
saying.
right? You are the culmination of all your experiences.
Hmm.
So, the way that you love, the way that you communicate, the way that you don't communicate, the way that you argue, the way that you serve your community, the way that these are things that have been based on what you do today is based on your significant experiences over a period of time. You are the culmination of all the things you've been exposed to. Now, we do get to pick and choose who we are and what we aren't where we go. I mean, and sometimes it's subconscious, sometimes it's very conscious. But when it comes to your intimate, significant relationships, who have they been with and what they've been like? And how have they influenced
Hmm.
who you are today, how you love your spouse? And these aren't things that you're going to have immediate answers to. These are all going to be deep thought questions. These are all things that you should be thinking about and thinking, yeah, you know what? Should be like, oh, Bob. I was intimate with Bob. He was great. Yep. I like people like Bob. No, it's more about, okay, well, why did I do the things that I do? And how did I take my first love? How did that impact my next love? And
Yeah.
it's like that snowball.
It's like, what did I learn from that? relationship? What did I get out of it? What did I take from that first relationship and bring to the next one? And then, like you said, a snowball and so on and so forth, so forth. So in this relationship that I'm in now, did I still bring something from 3 relationships ago into this relationship?
Yeah,
Or, you know,
we all do.
I was about to say, I know I did.
I know you did. No,
Get out.
no. I mean, I know I did, and we had to work through a lot. I mean, look, come on, folks. We're about to be married 25 years. We brought some baggage with us.
Well, I didn't bring baggage.
Yeah, and your baggage was you was wielding a knife. Yes, you
Wow.
did.
Really? You cut me deep.
Me too.
Whatever.
No, anyway, go ahead and read the next one.
Please describe 1 to 3 significant life events that have shaped you in terms of being in a relationship and what you learned from them.
Just like an extension of that last question, but it's really talking about, it doesn't have to be about, your significant relationships, but it is asking 1 to 3 significant life events.
Hmm.
There could be things that transpired in your youth, things that happened, things that you witnessed, not the event, not just the event itself, but the cascade of events that took place as a result of that event.
I think that this is so important because so many times we really don't think that significant things from our past play into what happened now, or what's happening in our relationship. I think that we're like, oh yeah, this happened and blah 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 whatever, and may have impacted some other area, but we never think that. I won't say we never, a lot of times people don't think that this certain thing that happened over here influenced my relationship too. you
Mm-hmm.
know we just, oh, that's a work thing or whatever it is. It's like, no, it touches so many different areas of our lives, but we just don't look at it like that's why we act this way, or that's why this, or.
That's true. And there's a lot. And give it some thought. You might think, oh, I don't know if this is going to apply to me specifically, but it does. It applies to all of us. You just have to give time to the thought process to really think about what were some of the major events that transpired in your life.
So, what are some of your triggers, big or small, or common patterns that frustrate you about your marriage? I'll say that again. What are some of your triggers, big or small, or common patterns that frustrate you about your marriage? You got some?
Oh yeah, I got triggers.
You want to share?
No, no, but we all have triggers. Some of them. It's so funny. And again, going back to the commandments, if you will, thou shalt not, get upset with somebody when they're being honest. There are triggers that to me are big, but maybe to Snooks they're small.
They're usually small.
Because of, okay, so this builds on the last question when it says, describe 1 to 3 significant life events based on something that happened in your life previously. There might be a trigger that has absolutely nothing to do with your existing relationship, but it could be a trigger, something that, it could be a trigger that triggered your parents, that triggered your mother, that triggered your father. And you inherit some of those triggers because when you see something happen or a person looks at a person a certain way, it's like, that's just like mom and dad.
Mm-hmm.
Or that's just like mom and her boyfriend. That's like dad and his girlfriend. It might be depending on how you grew up. And those triggers, big or small, how are they showing up in your relationship now? Or common patterns that frustrate you. The common patterns could be just like, man, every time when you get stressed at work, you come home. I know when things are bad because first thing you do is you grab the whiskey. There's a pattern that's been developed over time.
Or even the way that you spend money.
Oh, speak on that.
I like to spend. Lovey does not. No, but yeah, I mean, those are triggers. Some things that the emotional things. Some people tie money to emotional spending because something triggered them, and that's how someone dealt with it. How they grew up. That's soothing, if you will. So now,
Oh yeah,
you
that's one of the
they
things we
pick
talk
that
about.
up.
What do you guys call that? Retail.
Retail therapy.
Yeah, retail therapy.
What do you mean, you guys? Who's you guys?
Well, there's
Me and the girls.
you and the girls.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, there's some truth to that, right? I mean,
Mhm.
I talk about it in the TED talk that I'm getting ready to do coming up, in the TEDx talk, and it's that we mentioned this before, where after some really deep introspection, and Snooks and I got an opportunity to talk, we discovered over time that spending money represented freedom to her, and putting money in the bank represents security to me. We were arguing over money, over spending habits, but we didn't know what those spending habits meant.
Mhm.
What was the true meaning behind it? And once we were able to identify, freedom, she was defending her freedom when we were arguing, and I was, you know, trying to instill some security or make sure that we have security. But now that we know what's going on, I mean, we don't always agree on everything, but we know, at least in this particular component, where we're coming from.
Mhm.
There's no shadows lurking. So that's something to think about. What are your triggers?
Yeah.
What are the patterns? So the next one is, how important, come on now, how important has your marriage been to you? Now, you listen to this podcast, so I hope that if you're married and you're listening to this because you hold your marriage in high esteem and you want to get better and you want to get some nuggets, either from us or from the couples that we bring on or some of the guests that we bring on that come with their different areas of expertise. But how important has your marriage been to you? And where have you put the most time and energy in the past year? Because where you put your time and your energy, that shows you where things are most important.
What is that saying? Where something goes, where some focus goes, your energy
Where,
focus.
where, where energy flows, your focus goes.
Okay. I know you knew what I was trying to
Or you can
say.
say where your focus goes, where your energy flows.
Yeah.
Energy is important. We all have energy. We all have, it's the lifeblood of what we are and how we do things. And where we spend our time, that's the one thing we can't get back. You can always get another dollar,
Mhm.
but where are you spending the most time and energy in the past year? Is it in your relationship,
Either your work,
your hobbies,
yeah, it could be, or your health, your friends.
your children?
Nope.
A lot of people
Nope.
put that time. We did volleyball.
I know.
We
I
put a
know.
lot of time into volleyball,
Yeah.
but I mean, that was all love and we enjoyed it. It became a family outing. But the question you should ask yourself is why? If you're spending the majority of your time on your relationship, why? Talk about why that's important to you. If
Or
you're
if
spending,
you say if you are spending it on your relationship or not.
if you are, or if you aren't, I think it goes every direction. If you're spending more, if you feel like, oh, I'm spending a lot of time and money on, my job, because it's so important. Sometimes we try and make our excuses our reasons,
Mm,
but again, it goes deeper than that. How
that's true.
important is your marriage to you? Have that discussion.
Yeah. That's true. What's your greatest fear in your marriage?
Mhm. This one you're going to spend some time on. And this is where the honesty is truly, truly needed. Because in order to really share your fears can come from a lot of different areas. It can come from, it can stem, I should say, it can stem from childhood things, triggers that you've carried with you, that baggage you brought into it, the way you were treated in previous relationships.
Mm-hmm.
It could be some of the things that are happening in your relationship right now. I've seen the anger and the rage in your eyes. I'm afraid you're going to hit me. My
Mm.
greatest fear might be that you're going to hit me. You never have. And then you have these conversations and it's like, well, girl, I never hit you. I would never do that. No, but there's 5 holes in the wall.
But you're very aggressive. So
And it's just, my fear is that I see what you do to the wall. How long before you do that to me
mm-hmm.
or the kids? Or it might be like, oh, I hear how you and your girls talk all the time. And that's just talk. I don't act on that stuff. We're just saying, I'm just hanging on my girls and da 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 da. I'm like, yeah, but every time you leave the house with one of them or all of
Right.
them, I'm afraid that,
You might act out the talk
exactly.
that you're doing.
It's all situational. Peer pressure is there. If you're pressured into talking that way, how long before you're pressured into acting that way?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, but be honest, be genuine. What's your greatest fear in your marriage? You can't overcome a fear until you face it.
That's true. And when you face it, you have to be honest. You can't just be like, okay, yeah, I'm here. But no, you have to be honest with 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 what you're evaluating, and then why you feel the way that you feel,
Yeah. And so the last thing is on a scale of 1 to 10, one, which is what? Like,
Immense pleasure. No, immense challenge. I'm sorry. Ready to split, and 10 being the best it could be. I never wanted to end. Where would you rate your marriage and why?
so, and again, all of these require some thought. So where are you on that scale of immense
Between 1 and
challenge
10.
or it's the best it could be? Best I never wanted to end. But do that same rating when it comes to
Communication,
mhm, to your trust,
and spontaneity and fun
intimacy.
and sex.
And some of you are thinking, well, intimacy and sex, that's the same thing.
No, it's not.
It can be.
Well,
Sex can be a component of intimacy, but intimacy just might be, sitting next to each other. Like tonight, I'm going to rub Snooks' leg. I rub her leg every night, but no, but she's got like a Charlie horse.
intentional rub.
Yeah, but there's going to be a form of intimacy where I'm trying to ensure that she feels better without any expectation that's going to lead to sex. But I'm expecting it's going to go there.
It's so silly.
No, without any expectation whatsoever. But you know what? And having that passionate sex that again that we're going to be talking about
on Saturday.
That's right. So you got to come to the marriage mastery meetup in Los Angeles. We're going to be talking about sex, baby.
Okay.
No, so these are the things. These are the questions, right? And these are important because lasting marriages are a work in progress.
And they're also unique and unlike anyone else's. So when you think you're seeing, oh, I want to be just like them. No, you want to be great always, but don't ever try to be just like someone else. Be unique. Have your own.
Right. Your marriage has its own specific DNA, has its own fingerprints. And it's about making sure that you're living in your strengths, you're living in the gifts within your marriage. But lasting marriages also work best
when they're worked on.
Amen. By listening to this podcast and podcasts like ours, by going to marriage conferences like this weekend's marriage mastery meetup or conferences like that, by working on your marriage, you're ensuring that you're putting in that work, and that's when they work best, when you're constantly tinkering, trying to make it better.
Yep. They also, lasting marriages also accept the imperfections of each other. So I know that Lovey's not perfect, and he knows that I'm not perfect. I don't expect perfection from him. Do I?
You do.
Okay.
No, but we're perfectly imperfect
together.
And I love that.
Yeah.
And lasting marriages seek wise counsel.
Yes. Not the disgruntled girlfriend.
Right.
Or the doggish guy friend or whatever.
And if you want to have some fun, seek wise counsel and the Married into Crazy coaching.
We do have a lot of fun.
We do. And the couples that we counsel and that we work with, they always tell us that they're having a blast. It's fun. We enjoy it thoroughly. So I hope this was really beneficial for those of you out there. I mean, we kind of went deep on the teaching tonight, but I think it's needed. I think that we need to understand that all these questions, the only way you can have a better marriage is having better understanding.
Yeah. And, especially there are some couples that, well, like in 2019 or 2020, I should say, a whole lot of couples worked home together. There was, they had to get to know each other, and some people, it wasn't so favorable. There was a lot of reported abuse, breakups, whatever. It's great to have emotional intelligence anyway, but especially when you're with someone all the time, we need to be intelligent emotionally because it touches, I won't say it leads to, but it touches all other areas. We just don't realize it. Think about it. When you're unhappy in your marriage, you come to work, you're grouchy, you're yelling at the kids, you're just frowning all the time. I mean,
You say a bunch of crazy stuff. Like it's always like, oh, the clock's not working. Yeah, I like my marriage.
Oh,
What's
yeah.
your marriage got to do with the clock? Homie?
So funny.
I know. So I was like, you angry. You kind of like putting that on everybody.
Yeah.
You know, you're trying to co-sign all this negativity everywhere. But yeah, I mean, and it's true. You know what? If you're happy at home, you can be happy in the rest of your life.
Mhm.
So, and we focus on that because you spend probably the majority of your time at home.
Well, for those that are working from home.
Well, I mean, so okay, let's say that you go to work for 8 hours a day. There's 24 hours in a day.
Oh, I get where you're
8 of them
going.
are spent at work. You know, the rest of them are like hobbies, side jobs. You sleep for at least, 6 to 8 hours at home, somewhere around there. So that right there matches what you do at work. But the other time, you're with your spouse.
Hopefully.
For the people that are listening to this particular podcast. So you know what? I hope this was beneficial for you. I hope you enjoyed it. Do us a favor, share this with a friend. Share this with some couples. If you have some friends out there that are having some challenges, share this particular episode and invite them to listen to more episodes of Married into Crazy. And remind them that it's not, no, they ain't saying that you're crazy. We might. But what we're saying is that we all have room to be more compassionate,
Real,
accountable,
zealous,
and yielding.
yes.
So until the next time,
Be blessed.
bye-bye.